Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. This video is going to be a review on episode 5 of Them on Amazon Prime Video. If you haven't seen episode 1 through 4 reviews, they are up on the channel, so make sure you check those out. If you have seen them, thank you for tuning in. Let's get into episode 5. This episode was extremely hard to watch, and so I want to make sure I put a trigger warning in the beginning of this video for anyone who has possibly went through sexual assault or violence in general, because I don't mean to re-trigger you by going through the episode. It wasn't that long of an episode, but it did give us a backstory on how the Emerys moved to California, a reason that was deeper than just work in a new life, and also what happened to baby Chester. This has been a recurring question through episodes 1 through 4, and we finally got our answer. We also got a little insight on Miss Coitus, who is the realtor that sold Emerys the house, and we see her in the very beginning in a meeting with other realtors. I guess she's a part of a firm, and they go over different cities in California and how they've changed since the Black migration. They delineate certain neighborhoods as declining because of Black inhabitants, and they highlight particularly West Compton versus East Compton, that West Compton took some type of decline because Black people started moving into the neighborhood, and they're scared that East Compton's going to take the same turn. And Ms. Coitus actually said that East Compton is thriving as Black people are moving in, and it seemed like she was trying to advocate for Black migration into these neighborhoods. But this firm, this group of people, they wanted to up the mortgage rates so that particularly Black people might not be able to pay to move into the neighborhoods. Now, if they can't afford it, that's great. They are frauding and stealing money from Black people when they shouldn't do that. And if they can't afford their mortgage, they default, and that's great as well, because then they'll have to pay exuberant high interest rates and everything like that. So basically we get to see some insight on redlining and how historically institutional and systemic racism has kept Black people from home ownership. Even till today, we see that Black people own way fewer homes than white people, and this is why. The very next scene, we get to see Ms. Coitus go and sell the home with this new high mortgage rate to the Johnsons. This is a very important scene because we get to see a little bit of insight with the Johnsons. If you remember, Lucky went and visited the Johnsons to get, another perspective from a Black family in East Compton, and that family was a mess. The boys were missing. The Roland Johnson didn't have any limbs, and he was sick, and she seemed sick. And so in that meeting, it was important to, one, see how the Johnsons were sold their home with the same bill of sale that the Emerys had. If you notice, her bill of sale also said no Negro blood, et cetera, et cetera. So it's very interesting they had the same bill of sale. Also, we got to see that, one, Roland was in tip-top shape, so I was wrong with my prediction. I thought maybe he lost his limbs in the war or something like that, but we see he was in tip-top shape when he moved to the neighborhood. Also, we see that the Johnson boys do exist. She has 2 sons, and they were in good health, so it's left to be seen what exactly happened to that family. The next scene is really important as well. Another prediction that I was wrong. Well, it's not really a prediction, but I had a little bit of a feeling about this sergeant. If you remember when Lucky came out and she was waving her gun, I was like, this one police officer seems to be level-headed. He seems to be not as racist as the rest of them, and I thought that they just put that into the show because they wanted to show that some people weren't racist, but I was wrong. Sergeant Bull is a racist, a cold, hard racist, and we see that Ms. Coitus actually pays him to keep the peace in the neighborhoods when Black people move into East Compton. That way she can make sales, she can continue having her job. It seems that this is the quadrant that she's assigned. She can't sell houses anywhere else, so she's just trying to make her way. But honestly, we hear Sergeant Bull say the nastiest things, the same things we've heard the other racist white people say in this show, and it just confirms that he is no good. Finally, baby Chester appears. I'm gonna put the trigger warning in one more time because this was a little bit hard to watch, and it is a little bit hard to discuss. So the dream that Lucky had in the very first episode, we see it again, play by play, but now we get a little bit further past when she woke up. The woman comes and she's singing this really eerie song, and Lucky tries to chase her out. Baby Chester starts crying, and she goes to tend to her baby. 3 other men come in and they burst into the Emery house. She's alone with her baby. She tries to hide her baby and hide herself, but ultimately she is found, and unfortunately she is assaulted by 2 men. While they assault her, the baby happens to start cooing, and that crazy lady finds the baby and she takes the baby. I thought maybe she just wanted the baby and that she was gonna steal the baby, but unfortunately there was some type of call. What I found is that they had a purpose for going there, is to take that baby and to kill that baby, because they had a certain call, cat in a bag, which signified that they had what they were looking for. And unfortunately, they tossed around that baby, harmed that baby, and that baby passed away in that act of tossing around the baby. And Mrs. Emery, Lucky, she witnessed all of that. And since that time, everything that happened that day completely changed her. They ended up burying the baby, what it seemed to be on the property of that old house in Chatham County, North Carolina, and that's what sparked the move, or it seemed like the move to California was already on way, but you see that Henry Emery has a call saying that, the house is ready, and it was the call he was looking for because he was ready to leave that life behind. So in general, this scene was really important. When I got the trigger warning in the beginning, because of my prediction about Betty and her past with her father, I kind of mentally prepared myself to see maybe something happen to explain that. So I wasn't mentally prepared. Not that I was prepared to see that, but I wasn't prepared to have that be the background story of what happened to Lucky, why it changed her, why I predicted that she was sick or something was wrong with her and her family knew something was wrong with her. I wasn't prepared for that. I wasn't also prepared to see that baby Chester died in that manner. I knew he was obviously gone, but no one could have predicted that this would happen to the Emery family. And so it made me incredibly sad and very sick to see. And so for everyone who's watching, please comment below on any of the comments that you had. This is a safe space to just to vent about how that episode made you feel, because that scene was very graphic and very hard to watch. So we see after this tragedy, this is what changed Lucky. And people grieve in very different ways, and this is the way grieving affected Lucky. She became distant. She became obviously incredibly sad. She visited the baby's gravesite. She talks to the baby. She cries a lot. It changed her so much so that her daughters realized this, but they didn't quite understand the grieving process. They just thought Mama was going crazy and she's just sad, and they both vowed to never be like her, not fully understanding that this might not necessarily be her, but just the process in which she's grieving what happened not only to her, but her baby. Again, like I say in every review, we see another instance of Henry being incredibly supportive and loving of his wife. If you remember, she was that for him when he was going through his toils with coming back from the war in service and being completely messed up. So again, a really strong family unit, and I commend Henry for being the man of the family and being a good man to his girls. Like I said, it was a very short episode. They just ended with, them packing up the car, ready to move to California for a brand new life and a new start. And then the last scene is Henry coming to get Lucky, who's still out of it, but he convinces her that her girls need her and that she has to come on. And it ends with a box that has CE, which is the initials of Chester Emery, the baby that was lost. And that's a little bit of an explanation of what that box was that she hid in the basement of her home. And so maybe that's going to be a full circle moment in the next coming episode, because she hides that box in the basement, but that basement's a little bit creepy. That basement has something going on with it. So hopefully this is not something that is part of this whole supernatural thing, but it could just be a momentous part of the story that she keeps that box with her and she wanted to safeguard it in the basement where no one could touch it. So that's it for episode 5 review. Like I said, please comment below on any of your feelings, any of your thoughts about this episode. Episode 6 review will be up very soon. Thank you so much. Please comment, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you guys soon.